answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is the Friday free-for-all, folks. We're going to go over the week's news. And I know I can't cover it all. And there's last-minute things that pop up. And that's just the way it is. Now, you'll notice we're not absolutely live. I've been asked to leave the security, privacy, safety of the bunker and head out. And I've been using this particular backdrop to camouflage my location and when I leave, etc. Folks, security is important. It's SHTF. Be careful. Be on the lookout. Be on your guard. One of the things we've seen this week, last week, and lately, and it's increasing, is the danger. The danger of being robbed, assaulted, blindsided, or just outright killed. It's not, folks, your daddy's world in America anymore. Are you prepared, folks? Are you watching everyone, regardless of their age, their gender, their color, anything? Are you making sure that the people around you within, shall we say, striking distance appear to be good people? It's a dangerous world, folks. It truly is. What is your plan if you're out in public and someone starts, I don't know, shooting up the crowd? Are you prepared to charge them? Are you prepared to repel them with your own force? Are you prepared to duck and run, take cover, right? What are you prepared to do? It truly is, folks, one of those questions that we have to ask. Are we really prepared? Right? Now, having food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, that's something that we always harp on. We always say, you've got to have those things. But it is mental preparation. And that's why you're here. And I want to thank you for supporting us here at the Prepared Mind Network. Everything we do, folks, is to help people get prepared, whether it's providing information, insights, theories, right? Or whether it's the preparedmind.club, where we sell items that everyone needs to get prepared. It's just another outlet in a world, folks, well, yeah, where it's getting harder to get things, where the government has intentionally created inflation. That's right, folks. The government has intentionally created inflation. For several years, they were saying, we've got to get inflation higher. We've got to get it higher. We've got to get it past 2%. Why? That's 2% of my income you're making worthless. Well, they got it and then some. And they're going, well, wait, last month there was 0% inflation. It's a win. It's like, what? So they went way up, and now we're supposed to be happy they haven't gone up and broken the ceiling? Well, folks, guess what? They're going. They lied about inflation before they had to admit that there was 10% inflation, even though to me, with my income, it sure feels like 20 or 30% inflation on the things that I have to buy in order for me to live, right? I know that you are facing the same things. Our personal safety. Are you prepared? Your financial safety, are you prepared? Your family safety, are you prepared, folks? Friday free-for-all. Look around. Look around, right? Now, let's leave the comfort of our own country and let's go over to Europe and see what the hell happened over there this week on this Friday free-for-all. Well, we know what happened, right? Zelensky was doing a photo shoot with Vogue while sending his own people to the front line to be shelled by the Russians. And they're quitting, folks, in droves. Yet the intelligence community keeps telling the mainstream media that we're winning and that Russia's about to fail. Any moment now, Russia will fail. Russia's retreating. Russia's quitting. Russia, they can't afford it. Russia can't supply their own troops with food and bullets. At the same time, we hear even from Zelensky, they're getting their asses kicked. And then Zelensky turns around and says, well, we need more money. Send us more billions. Not to mention, folks, the $750 million that he wants the world to pay him to rebuild Ukraine. Unbelievable, folks. Unfreaking believable. They want to stop Russian people from traveling around the world, traveling anywhere, because they're bad. They need to suffer. Folks, they've been suffering under U.S., European sanctions for decades. They've been suffering already, just like the Iranians have been suffering. So they need more suffering. That'll fix the problem because it didn't work before. The definition of crazy is continuing to do the same thing and expect a different result. Well, there's the US government and Western oligarchs. Perfect, right? Now, what else is going on, folks, with Zelensky this week? Ukraine and NATO came out and said, oh, good golly, there's problems at that nuclear power plant at the place whose name is so complicated I can't say it. Or I could, but I'll just butcher it, so I'll skip it. The big nuclear power plant, the biggest in Europe. There's fears that it's going to be bombed. Folks, it's being held by the Russians, but we're supposed to be afraid. I think Russian soldiers at the nuclear power plant are going to bomb the nuclear power plant while they're at the nuclear power plant and blow themselves up. Give me a fucking break. Right? It is a key strategic move to put your military at a nuclear power plant. Yeah, it's kind of despicable because the Ukrainian army wants to shell them and shoot things at them. So if anything blows up there, it's caused by Ukraine, supplied with missiles from the US and NATO. And as despicable as it might sound, that the Russians are at a nuclear power plant hiding amongst them, using it as cover, the Ukrainians have been, what? This week it came out, they've been criticized and accused by Amnesty International. For what? Accused by Amnesty International for hiding amongst civilian populations and fighting, putting the military and using the civilians as human shields. And of course, they denied it and they threw a giant frickin' fit. Folks, it's a free-for-all all around the planet. It's a free-for-all. Who is going to win this? Right? Who is going to win it? It's unbelievable what's going on. Now, while we're overseas, OPEC, folks, this week, they've set the stage for oil, crude oil, right? Black gold. They're going to cut the output. Now, we've seen fuel prices coming down, oil prices coming down. Good. That's beautiful, right? We want to see that. Well, now they're going to cut production. Cut production of oil. We're seeing Russia cut production of gas, or at least what they're sending into Europe. And now this week, folks, there's also talk not only of oil, which is energy, but we need to fully sanction Russian uranium and enriched uranium products for nuclear power plants in Europe and the United States and elsewhere. We need to just cut these people, folks. It's a free-for-all, folks. They're going to try punishing everybody. And guess what? It is always you and I, whether you're in Europe, America, or around the world, it is always the people who get screwed over. But right in our faces, they want to tell us, well, they're really in charge and they know what's going on. Well, let's jump back over here to the week's really big domestic story. President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate raided, folks, raided by the FBI. And the mainstream media, well, they wanted to redefine that. It's not a raid. No, it's not a raid. It's not a raid. They're full of shit. It was a fucking raid. But they didn't like the negative response that the American people gave them. So they said, no, it's not a raid. It's not a raid. Well, no, it was a raid. Unbelievable. Well, it turns out that the weapons of war, fully automatic assault rifles that the FBI brandished, carried, they stood at the gate of Mar-a-Lago brandishing their weapons, folks, threatening anyone who would attempt to get in there. As if armed civilians would show up and try and take back Mar-a-Lago. It was a raid. We got it. It wasn't a war, but the FBI was ready for war. They wanted to show everyone that they're fully armed and ready. They're as ready as an IRS agent to use deadly force. Oh, yeah, that's right. We forgot about that. No, we didn't. No one's forgot about the new IRS that's coming for us. But the FBI, apparently, according to the warrant, According to the warrant, folks, the FBI was after some very, very important stuff. And thank you to Judicial Watch for filing the lawsuit to get this revealed. Are you ready to know what the FBI was after? A cocktail napkin, a birthday menu, some letters, some memos, some maps. 9 hours they searched. 9 hours, folks. They brought safe crackers to get into the safe, and the safe, as reported by one of Trump's son, was empty. Trump knew it was coming, folks. They brought in just a huge team. They made a spectacle of themselves, and they made fools of DC, and they showed the world their tyranny in Mar-A-Lago. The agents said, "You will turn off those security cameras and leave." Well, they didn't turn off the security cameras. They were on, and they recorded FBI agents going through everything, places that there would have been no reason for them to be. Get this, folks. If they found something, some damning piece of evidence, something illegal, it would have leaked to the media right away, and they would arrest Trump right away. Right? Imagine if they found a joint, some Mary Jane. Imagine if they'd found a crack pipe. That would be splashed all over the news. Imagine if there were pictures of Trump or videos of Trump, right, with hookers. That would be leaked right away. He would be arrested, folks, perp walked. Never mind the fact that, of course, Hunter Biden not only is accused of doing those things, but we have the video footage of him smoking weed, smoking crap, snorting cocaine off of hookers' asses, weighing his illegal, illicit drugs and putting them into, bags for distribution, right? It's one thing possessing drugs. It's another thing having them ready to distribute, sell. Unbelievable, right? This is where they're at, folks. Cocktail napkins, menus, some memos and maps. And they want to go through Melania's panty drawer. That's right, folks. 9 hours of these people screwing around and possibly planting evidence. You bet. That's our FBI, folks. And guess what? Christopher Wray, director of the FBI, says the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they're the real victims. Oh, poor little FBI. They're the real victims. With all their badges, their guns. Now, remember this. Every FBI agent, folks, is an attorney, a lawyer. They've gone to law school. I'm sure it is not a constitutional-based law school. It is a law school designed to teach them how to avoid the Constitution and how to put the Constitution to the side, and loopholes and in-runs and step-overs and exceptions to the Constitution. That's what their law school teaches them, folks, so they can become FBI agents and do all of those things. The Constitution is an impediment to the government, and they know it. They're always trying to get around it. Have you noticed that with legislation? This legislation is going to get rid of the Second Amendment. This legislation is going to stop the First Amendment. Free speech, no guns. We don't want people to be secure in their homes. We need special rules, exceptions to the Fourth and Fifth Amendments. And the federal government is all powerful, so screw the 10th Amendment. Right? The Constitution is always telling the government, no, no, no. Get back in your cage, bitches. Right? They hate it. The FBI hates it. Right? And after 6 years, folks, of screwing, spying, stealing, lying, the FBI raids the home of President Trump and then claims they're the real victim. This guy is a total, incomprehensibly stupid, imbecilic douchebag. The FBI is an agency. An agency cannot be victimized. An agency cannot be victimized. Chris Wray is a fool and a knave, folks. People are victimized. The government victimizes people, right? Now, the evidence and political conjecture is showing that Trump appears to have baited the FBI in and set the FBI up for this raid. It took 9 hours to search his home to find what? Folks, cameras were rolling, cameras were recording. The pervs were in Melania's panty drawer, right? Sniffing around. Creepers and pervs, liars and cheats. Couldn't find what they needed. Oh, yeah, like I said, they're going to likely try and plant evidence, fake evidence, manufacture evidence, use the mainstream media to tattle on Trump. Well, it didn't work. It's not working, folks. Americans are pissed at the poor widow victims of the FBI. You know, F you, Ray. Seriously, folks. Incomprehensibly stupid. Now, how much did this hurt Trump, having his property raided? Well, 9 hours of inconvenience, right? His lawyer was there and said, show me the warrant. And the FBI agent held it up 10 feet away and said, you can't get any closer than that. You're not allowed. Everyone has to leave the property. Makes the FBI look like, the Stasi, the Gestapo, the SS Nazi Brigade. It makes them look like the KGB and the GRU, right? It makes them look like tyrants, and they are. They absolutely are. Folks, are you prepared for this to get a lot worse? Right, this week also, what they capture a congressman, folks, a U.S. congressman, and steal his phone from him. I thought there was a level of respect and a level of immunity that congressmen had so they can do their jobs. Not so, not anymore, folks. It's a free-for-all. It's an absolute free-for-all, but it is, folks. Remember, the FBI is the victim in all this. They're victims, folks. Thousands of lawyers with guns and badges. They're victims. Absolute victims. The federal government's out of control. Shit has hit the fan. The people know it. We're watching. Their demands, folks, that the FBI not just be investigated, but dissolved. Not just clear out the leadership, but remove the whole freaking thing. And I've made the point in the past. The FBI didn't exist at the beginning, right? Way back when the Constitution was created, they were like, we need a Federal Bureau of Investigation. No, that's a more modern sounding term, isn't it? Right. How about a government agency charged with making sure all federal agents and agencies respect the Constitution first and foremost, because that is the rules and the guidelines? How about that? How about that be the thing that government bureaucracy does? Instead, no, it's all about the other thing, tearing down the Constitution. Now, right, they're out of control, folks. The IRS, we learned this week all about the Internal Revenue Service. 87,000 new agents are being hired. That's enough to fill the largest super stadium in America. 87,000. Imagine all of those people roaring and cheering and applause at the head of IRS and the president down on the field, right? The loudest cheering you can imagine at the Super Bowl is what they would be capable of. And this isn't all of the IRS, just the new ones, folks, on top of all the other people, agencies, and computers they have for screwing us all over. Unbelievable. Now, they're not just going to be IRS agents with the power to audit. No, folks, they need to be able to legally own and possess a weapon. Wait a minute. Why? Well, they need to be healthy and in good shape. Oh, okay. And what else? What are the other requirements? Have to be willing to execute warrants, arrest people, and use deadly force and put themselves in dangerous areas. What are they going to do? Are they going to audit the Mexican cartels? Are they going to audit South American drug lords? Are they going to audit the Russians? I mean, give me a break. We were told that these agents are being hired for what? Well, to go after those filthy rich people who aren't paying their fair share. Yeah, you're going to believe that. You don't need a gun to send a summons to tax court. You don't need a gun for that. You need a pen. And folks, to date, the IRS typically does just that. They use subpoena power to get people to come to an unconstitutional administrative tax court where you argue about how much money you owe or don't owe. But now they need to execute search warrants and be willing and ready to use deadly force against rich people. They'd be like, look, I'll pay the extra 10 grand or 20 grand. Give me a break. Get off of me, right? You don't need to put a gun in my face to get me to pay taxes that you say I owe. So who are the guns for, folks? Who are the guns for? That's right. You and me. They need guns for us. They need to threaten us. They need to scare us, the people. And that's what they're trying to do. The FBI is out there trying to scare people. The IRS is out there trying to scare people. The Department of Homeland Security is out there trying to scare people. Oh, you bet, folks. You bet. That's what they're out there to do, is to scare everybody into compliance and use force. Force. I mean, it was incredible that there's a representative in our Congress. The people of Indiana elected her. Why? Well, I guess she represents their thinking. Well, not only, folks, is she aware of what's going on, but she was born in communist Soviet Union. She knows what communism looked like, smelled like, how they acted. And she said, folks, that the Trump raid used KGB-style tactics. Soviet, communist, anti-human, anti-rights, anti-freedom. She knows, folks. I mean, I know, you know, but now we've got a representative, a government representative saying, wait a minute. Folks, it's 1776 all over again. That's where we're at. Bullshit, fake charges. Right? Bullshit, folks. Absolute bullshit. False charges, crooked judges, fake juries, corrupt proceedings. We're right there again, folks. Right there again. I mean, if they went to John Hancock's house and tore around everything looking for evidence that he didn't pay a stamp tax or a tea tax, that's essentially the same level of crime that Trump is accused of, looking for napkins, right? Looking for maps or menus. They're way beyond Waco and Ruby Ridge, folks, way beyond that, right? They scared us with that. And now they're scaring us saying, well, we're going to go after the president. We're going to go after Trump. So don't think you little people can get away with anything. We got 87,000 more IRS agents right over here waiting to stick a gun in your face. Their actions in DC, folks, reveal them to be the evil people that we suspected they are. Where are the arrest warrants and search warrants for Hillary, Hunter, the Obamas, the Clintons all together? Folks, they arrested Jeffrey Epstein. They arrested his partner, Ghislaine Maxwell. They're found guilty of pedophilia, selling sex with minors to rich people like Prince Andrew, and their good buddies like Bill Gates are still out there. They have the books, folks. They have the information on Jeffrey Epstein and his little island of joy, his little fantasy island. Where are all the other people that took the Lolita Express down there? Where are the books naming names of people who went to little Lolita Island to hang out with Hillary and Bill Gates? Where is their client list and why aren't they being raided? I've already discussed Hunter Biden and why he should just be in handcuffs right now. But instead, we've got people up in Washington, D.C., January 6th, peaceful protesters who dared to step foot on public property. Public property. Our nation's sacred capital supposedly is no longer sacred and it's no longer public. And they've been held, folks, in jail over a year and a half without trial for walking on public property. While we know that people have committed real crimes, folks. This is what happens when government goes absolutely rotten. Folks, we have a republic, not a democracy. We have rules, not guidelines. Rights are eternal, inseparable, and inalienable from the people. And government knows it and they're afraid. They want you to shut up. So don't shut up. Be loud. They want you to be without your guns. You know what that means? Make sure you have lots of guns and ammo. They want the states to give up their rights. The federal government is supreme, they think, that they're sovereign and above everything else. So the states are standing up and saying no more. And even, folks, surprisingly and refreshing, the United States Supreme Court, SCOTUS, has said, well, the states have rights. That's right, folks. The states' rights, state authority exceeds that of the federal government because the 10th Amendment says so. I'm going to use the word privileges for the federal government. All the federal privileges that they have are in the Constitution. And if it's not in the Constitution, then they don't exist. And those powers and authorities are reserved for the states and the people there. That's right, folks. The federal Constitution, 10th Amendment, refers to the people, you and me, as having rights. Our rights, the right to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. Look it up, right? They want to erase history. They want to make it racist, right? They want to make it evil, white supremacist. That Constitution's bad. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. I think that people who work for the federal government know that it's evil and corrupt. And they don't like it, folks. A lot of them don't like it, and they didn't sign up for that. Whatever small, few number of good people that work for the government, they're not really happy about it. Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you something that happened this week. A federal agent decided he would go down to the Florida Keys. He was off duty and drunk off his ass. And he made it abundantly clear that he wanted the police to kill him. He ended up threatening the police and got shot and was killed. What I want to know is what this federal agent was doing, why this happened. Which federal agency did he work for? He went down to the Florida Keys, was drunk off his ass, had the police called on him, he threatened them, and they ended up shooting and killing him. What agency did he work for? Was he part of the FBI raid on Trump's property? Was he aware of the lies and the bullshit that was going on? And he couldn't take it anymore. What did he know? What lawless actions were taken that he was aware of, right? That he would become so despondent, get himself drunk, and then produce weapons that he brought there for the purpose of threatening the police so he would be killed by them. Was he a whistleblower and he was caught and threatened and he knew he had to kill himself? Why was he suicidal? They knew he was suicidal, but when he pulled out the weapon, they had to defend themselves. And I want everyone to take note of that. When you're threatened by someone else with a gun, whether they're drunk or not, whether they're a federal agent or not, you're allowed to protect yourself. Was he a whistleblower? Were his superiors threatening to harm him and his family if he revealed what he knew? Is that why he needed to be killed? Right? Hence, right, alcohol and suicide by cop move. Oh, and also, there's some other key questions we have here. Was he fully juicinated and boosted against cerveza bug? And for Pete's sake, what were his pronouns so we can talk about he, her properly? Folks, it's just absolutely insane what is going on. I want to thank you. I'm going to be back Sunday Night Live. Unless, heaven forbid, something wrong, bad happens or the internet explodes. But I will be off site, out of the bunker, out amongst you guys in the world. Maybe I'll see you. Maybe you'll run into me somewhere. Right? Maybe we'll have a conversation and a drink. I don't know. We'll see. Right? I'm not out there at this very moment, but I will be. But I'll be back for Sunday Night Live, the zoo, and we'll discuss what has continued to happen this week through the weekend and what we can expect to see next week. Last week on Sunday Night Live, I said, hang on, got some big shit going down. Lo and behold, that information was correct. What's coming next? Folks, it is a lawless free-for-all for the FBI, the federal government, 90 Proof Nancy, and dumbass Biden. Look out, folks. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Get your plan together. Get what you need at thepreparedmind.club. And sign up there for Pete's sake. $2 a month at thepreparedmind.club and subscribestar.com. Get signed up. Watch videos live and participate Monday through Friday. And then I'll see you at the zoo on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? God bless America and Semper Fi.